have people started typing out in what dasha and antardasha they
No, so
started?
we haven't even gone to that. I just
you
asked
got,
if there
okay.
is any basic questions.
Okay. Today's session is for discussing when did we start learning astrology. Okay. Main point of discussion will be the Mahadasha and then the Antardasha. Sometimes it will be a combination of Dasha and Antardasha, and we'll also discuss the logics. As usual, we'll go with the format. You raise your hand. Manoj is a co-host, but he's not doing well. He has some health issues. So, but he will still be helping us. Unmute somebody who has raised their hand. Per person, only one chance is given because we have to give chance to everyone else. And the question will be, or whatever they want to say, will be just for 1 minute. Okay, we'll follow that because everybody has to participate. Okay, right now we have 35 of us are here. And now the first thing that you have to do is you have to type out using the chat your name and then what dasha and antardasha you were in when you started to learn astrology seriously, not just casual. Okay, you found a teacher, you found a guru, you got seriously inclined to studying astrology. Who goes first? Raise your hand. And before that, all of you can start typing the answer. Soumya Srivastava, Rahu, MD towards the end, but full on. Okay, but it started in Rahu, right? And to begin with, I'll be the person who, maybe the first person to tell you the answer. I started my astrology, learning astrology very seriously. Rahu Dasha and Jupiter Antardasha. Rahu, Jupiter. But whatever purpose you use astrology, there'll be some link to that. Okay. What is your type? What is that which is interesting you in astrology? You want to serve the world, you will have some other combination. You want to help people, or you just want to know about your horoscope alone. Or is it just curiosity? So there are many reasons. So it will definitely have an effect on which dasha and antardasha you began. If you had learned something in a very big way, not the regular school and college, but out of the way you went and you got a guru, you got a mentor, maybe not in astrology alone, and something else, some other field, even then there will be some connection. Now, the first question is, of all the 12 houses, which house are we talking about when it comes to finding a teacher, finding a guru, a mentor? Any guess? I'll wait for all of you to type the answer. I think in the morning, some people had asked, why is it that Rahu has appeared so many times? Anybody wants to try answering that question? Why Rahu? Why Rahu? Is my voice, audio level very low or high? Manoj?
It's correct, sir.
We hear you clearly.
Yeah, yes.
Thank you.
Very good.
Yeah.
40%.
So the question is why Rahu comes into many times, right, sir? Am I audible, sir?
Yes, Manoj.
Divine girl
Yes,
to
yeah.
everyone. It's so much illusion that one seeks answers to understand reality. One of the best answers. Why Rahu Dasha so many? When is it that you seek light? When is there the interest to learn something? Especially, let's say, astrology. When do you want to learn? Soumya Srivastava says, in darkness, you seek light. Confused, we do not know what's happening in our life. But sometimes based on the Antardasha, you can say it need not be completely only this, that you are in trouble or in darkness. Sometimes something, the thing that attracted you to most could have been, what is this? There is something people are talking about. I need to acquire this knowledge also. Okay. And meantime, we can also do a short a research on where Jupiter is placed for most of us. Those who have Jupiter in the 10th, they'll be very much interested in astrology as a kind of a collection, a database. They'll be surrounded by books. They'll try to acquire as many books as possible. All the astrology books, they'll be eager to buy. They'll be eager to store and catalog, create catalogs. Horoscope types. I have 100 horoscope of doctors. I have 100 horoscopes of, engineers. Basically, database. Lots of teaching, ability to teach and counsel. So there are several ways you would use astrology. Okay. When there is an obsession to know about the unknown, which house? A very interesting point about astrology is that the opposite houses in horoscope is always interconnected. Okay, it's always interconnected. Anybody from yesterday's class? We started beginners class. Can you raise your hand if any student from the beginners batch is here? Ram Kumar. Okay. Then we have Divine Girl. Nikesh. Yeah, so many of you, right? So I hope you all, some of you are truly beginners, I know. There's a mix of students here. We have level 3 students, level 2 students, and beginners. All of them are in one group because it's basically a Patreon session. But we also like to, bring in our new students also. Because Manoj Chakravarti is doing a research on, he used to conduct polls, which I think we can later do it. Okay. But of the 12 houses, which house can be truly called the house of awakening? Which house? Deepak Kumar, Josephine, you all got the right answer. The third house. The third house is the house of awakening. So you awaken. A very interesting point about astrology is that the opposite houses are interlinked. They're connected. Just do it in your mind and see. All the opposite houses. So if 9th house is Guru, what is the opposite house? If the 9th house is Guru, the opposite house is the third house. The seeking a Guru, finding a Guru is the third house. Whereas the Guru himself is in the 9th. You are the first house. Your spouse is the 7th house. Your husband or wife, the one with whom you have a relationship, is the 7th house. You see the connection. What is opposite the 6th house? The 12th house. Can anybody explain in the chat or raise, all of you put down your hand and raise your hand if you know the answer. Yes, Sriram Natarajan. Mana, I'm trying to unmute Sriram Natarajan, but it's not working.
I've tried, sir.
Unmute your mic. Okay, you're not able to. Okay, then we'll skip.
A lot of them have pinged that they couldn't hear the question, sir. Can you repeat it again?
The question is, we are just talking about the opposite houses. Okay, the opposite houses. So when we said, most of you answered the house that connects to gurus or teachers is actually the 9th house, at least higher level learning. And astrology is something that you're trying to learn, considering the fact that you've completed education and that you want to learn astrology. So usually that which you learn at a later age is mostly 9th house. Okay, your primary education is 2nd house, your middle education is 4th house. But you can say generally what we say as school is 4th house, and college and that which leads to a career, a profession, is 9th house. So let's say this is the ascendant. If this is the 1st house and this is the 7th house, what is common between them? They're opposite houses. What are opposite houses in a horoscope? It will be equidistant if you count from either side. Okay, you count from here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you count from there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It will be equidistant. There'll be 6 houses on this side and that side, empty houses. So that's how you know it's a line that's drawn on the zodiac, which divides the zodiac into 2 halves. That is the opposite houses. 1, 7. Please put on your hand in case you have a mic. Raise your hand and then you can tell me the answer.
What is the question, Guruji?
not
I
able
don't
to
think
hear?
like everyone. No, actually, we did, Guruji, but I don't think like we understood the question.
What is the common thing between the opposite houses 1 and 7?
It is you and the other person, Guruji.
Yeah.
The
So what is
opposite
it about?
person.
What is it about? Yeah, you and the other person. There's always this, right? It's always there is me and one more person at any given point in time. Right now, my students are my 7th house. A little while ago, I was playing
You
snooker.
and the outside world, Guruji.
No, need not be
And the
outside
market.
because see, you don't interact with everybody in the world, right? There are roughly 8 billion people in this world, and I'm guaranteeing you that you will, for the rest of your life, never see 95% or even 99% of them personally. You will never know. You will never have any relationship with them. So the 7th house is the relationship axis. So if the 9th house is the house of Guru, what is the opposite house?
3rd house, Guruji.
3rd house. Okay. 4th house is a kind of a sleeping house. The house of sleep, comforts. Now, when you slept well in the morning, what do you say? I slept well. Okay. I slept well. But actually, you will not know whether you slept well or not. Okay. But yet you guarantee, you say that I know, yes, I slept well. It's actually enjoyable. It's another house for 4th house is comfort. Comfortably on the bed, sleeping when there is so much of work going on around us. Okay. So much of tension in this world. But the one who sleeps does not care. Happily sleeping. So what could be awakening? Which house will be awakening? Please type it out in the chat. 1 minus that house. 1 minus that house. You see how beautifully it is arranged. 1 minus means loss of sleep. Comfortable. When you go to the gym, you know which house is activated? The 3rd house. Not comfortable. Look at another guy who's not going to the gym, he's watching movie, sulking in the slouching in the on the sofa and just watching somebody's hard work. So the third house is house of activity. And actually, when you go to a teacher, there's always activity. You have to be awake. I have had the experience of sleeping in class. The teacher will throw something at you, right? You say, get out. You're sleeping. You see the bad axis between 4th and 9th. Comfortable? No way. In front of the guru, you cannot be comfortable. The reason is from the 9th, the 4th is in the 8th house. It's disoriented. So the teacher wants you to keep your eyes open. Third house is that. Third house is house of activity. If you want to get very specific, your awakening in astrology most probably is connected to the third house lord, the planet that owns the third house. So every opposite house has some interconnection like this. Suppose I say 4, 10. What is the common thread between 4 and 10? Or at least connect it. Maybe there's nothing common, but you can connect it. You can't, like 4 and 10. Anybody? Sriram, I have done the lowering of the hand by myself. Anybody wants to answer?
The effort you put on your work will lead to a good comfort.
What?
The effort you do in your work, sir, because the house, 10th house is the house of profession. So the more effort you put, the more the comfort it's going to give.
Beautiful. Nice point. 4th house is house of comforts. 10th house is career. 4th house is home. 10th house is office. The Kurukshetra, the war, where you slog it out by the sweat of thy brow, that everybody should live, doing hard work. 10th house. So it is either you're at home or you are working. If you're in a resort, it's still 4th house only. If you're in vehicle, 4th house. 4th house and 10th house are connected. But look at the 10th house and the 9th house. The 9th house is 1 minus the 10th. So when you're learning, you're not working. You're not earning. Learning. Learning is 9th house. So as long as you're in college, you're not having a work. Because after passing out of college, you get the work. Some people have managed to study and earn at the same time. But even then, it is still unconnected. What you're learning is, right now you're learning something. At this time, you cannot do some consultation and make money out of it. Okay, it's either this or that. 6th house and 12th house. 6th house and 12th. How are they related? Common or at least connected? Anything you want to say?
Sir, the 6th house is Runa Roga Shatru Sthana. But when we speak about Shatru, it's not just the physical enemies, but it's also the enemies that we have within ourselves. When we win it over, it leads to the 12th house of salvation.
Okay. But what is common between both? 6 and 12. Yes, Divine Girl can answer, I think.
Pain.
Pain.
So sixth would be death, disease, and enemies, which is like why we're experiencing this world. And 12th house again becomes very similar, which is like end of life cycle. So more like dissolution. So both have a lot of death, disease, enemies, sort of common theme dancing around 6 and 12.
If 12th house is house of loss, thank you.
Yeah.
If 12th house is house of loss, who's creating the loss for us? Disease, deaths, and enemies. I lost a game. Why? My enemy did that. So if you have debts, then automatically the 12th house is also connected. Because then the bank is going to take away a lot of your money. as interest, which is again loss. So please see the beauty in astrology. How beautifully they're all interconnected. 6th house is house of sin. And 12th house is a result of that. All the losses that you may have in this life is mainly because of the sin that was committed in the past life. Okay. So I will go back to the main agenda. Please participate in this discussion. What dasha and what antardasha you studied astrology? Has everybody done that? Have you answered this question? Was it asked in the beginning, Manoj?
No, sir. By the time you came, so we didn't get into.
We didn't start that. Okay. What dasha and antardasha you started to learn astrology seriously? We start from first one. Rahu has come once. Kiran, yes, Rahu. Divine Girl, Rahu. Srinivasa Gokul, Rahu. Aarti, not Rahu, but Mercury, Jupiter. Krishna, Saturn, Mars. In our research, we found that Mars had the least role to play. So that is actually surprising. Maybe just Saturn alone would have made it happen. That's what we think. Then Tao, Fan, Antardasha at least is Rahu, Kartik Rahu, Guna Sitaramanji Rahu is the eldest amongst all of us, I think. Mercury Mahadasha and Mercury Antardasha. Ramesh, I am Aries ascendant and Mercury is in Sagittarius with Jupiter. Okay, a lot of good combinations for learning astrology. Ramesh has also done a presentation along with me. Nikesh, astrology seriously in Jupiter, Mahadasha and Sun Antardasha. Gautam, Saturn, Mercury. Only this many people have answered, right? Okay. No compulsion. So many times Rahu. And then we answered by saying that so much of confusion, and then the soul automatically seeks knowledge. So why we got into astrology? There could have been several reasons, and it will reflect in the dasha the way it is. If Rahu is not involved, then it was not because your soul was seeking to get rid of the ignorance or fear or confusion that Rahu represents.
So there is a question that has been asked in the chat. Mars being the 8th house of Kala Purusha, why is it not considered for astrology?
Of all the planets, which planet can be, where we can say with confidence that, yes, we know this single planet, this one planet, must be the one which truly represents astrology. Which planet?
Mercury.
Mercury. How many enemies Mars has? Now, please, Manoj, don't answer this question. Let others answer in the chat. The enemies of Mars. Please type it out. Okay, I think you're having a tough time typing. So I'll give you the option to unmute and say something, but make sure you take turns, okay? And do not, all of you should not speak at the same time.
Mercury. Only one enemy, sir, Mercury.
No, raise your hand and then say, because there shouldn't be clash, okay? Because we can record, it's being recorded. I'll find very difficult, like during the editing. What did he say? Which planet?
Mercury, sir.
Mercury. Has Jupiter something to do with astrology?
Jupiter is knowledge, sir.
Jupiter is always knowledge. Okay.
Sir, also, if it has any connection with the second and third, it becomes your speech. So as an astrologer, you have to speak all your knowledge very carefully without upsetting or without fearing the other person. So I believe that's why Jupiter becomes extremely important in astrology, or to be a good astrologer, rather.
I did not get what he said. I mean,
Um,
I heard you, but I didn't understand.
so the role of Jupiter, obviously, one being wisdom and accumulation of knowledge, but second also being speech. Like if it has any connection with the second or third house, as an astrologer, it's vital that what you say comes with a lot of responsibility and doesn't come casually. Which is where I feel Jupiter plays a very important role in astrology.
Good. Okay. So, but why is Mercury the prime planet and why is Mars the one which opposes astrology? Is because how many enemies does Mars have? Or which are the planets that are considered enemies of Mars? Enemies of Mars.
So is it Saturn, Mercury, and Venus?
No, you can say whatever, it doesn't matter. You can give the answer, but you said 3 planets are considered enemies of Mars. Okay. Anyone else wants to say something? If we conduct this experiment with the whole world where people got into astrology, I think 80% of the time it will be Rahu. Is it correct, Manoj? Or in the poll, you got a different answer? Does the moon have any enemy?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Mars has how many enemies?
Only one.
One, sir.
Only one. Who is that?
Ashwat.
Mercury.
Mercury. So Mars is the enemy of astrology. Okay. Generally look at people who are dominated by Mars. Some of the policemen I met, they always had very little regard for astrology. The men of action, all the Mars people will not consider astrology. Okay, there is so much energy and force. There's no time to think about good days and bad days. Boxers, karate champions, the typical engineers, they have no time. All the people in army, navy, most of them. You will definitely come across people who believe in astrology even though they belong to this field, but it will be very few. I know many top police officers who have great respect for astrology also. But the reason for that is when you become a ruler, they have other yogas in the chart which allows them to consider astrology. But at the lower level, in terms of the type of designation a policeman has, at the bottommost level, they'll have very little regard for astrology. I'm just giving you an idea to get started. Just look around people whenever they say something like, I don't believe in astrology, you'll most probably find that they are Mars related. They're following a profession that Mars rules. Okay. Mars has only one enemy. There are many astrologers who don't practice astrology on Tuesday because of that. Whenever people come to me on Tuesday for consultation, I always note that it is always about divorce. Because Mars is the divorce planet. Fight. It'll always boil down to, they'll come to me on Tuesdays. And when people ask me a question about 2 horoscopes match, and if they come to me on a Tuesday, even before opening the book, I'll know there is no match. Mars is like that. Okay. So Mars has only one enemy. And Mercury. Never forget this. That's the reason the occurrence of Mars is very low. When you begin this. Whereas in Mars, you become a sports person, you become a boxer, You become something like, you become a typical engineer. You know how to do this and how to do that. A lot of things will happen in Mars. But definitely not astrology. But we did see here, some of them had started. Okay. In Mars. Is it because Mars is also a planet of celibacy? Where did you get that? Srinivasa Gokul. How many of you have Jupiter in the second house? You can type Jupiter in the second house. No one? Okay. Jupiter in the 10th house. Gautam Saiju has, okay, only one person, Jupiter in the 10th. I have in 10th with Sun, Mercury and Moon. His second answer. Anybody? Manoj, yes. The revival of astrology in India, a big revolution started with Dr. B.V. Raman from Bangalore. That was a transition time from the Independence Day onwards. So back to India. And then luckily for us, Dr. B.V. Raman came on the scene. Can you guess where his Jupiter was?
10th house.
10th house. So many books to his credit. The revolution of astrology in India, the coming back, the grand revival started with Dr. B.V. Raman. Jupiter in the 10th. More of books. Can you guess where, in which house Sri K.N. Raoji has Jupiter in?
10th house.
9th house.
9th house, okay.
10th.
Maybe it's more in both houses, is it? 9th and 10th. 9 and 10? Please
Only
type
10th
out.
house.
Only 10th house. How many have Mercury in the first house? Mercury in the first house. Please type out, just say, don't say me or some, because we're going to document it. Mercury in the first house. Just type Mercury in first house. I have Mercury in first house. Mercury, yes, something like that. Mercury in first house, Gemini ascendant. Soumya, are you planning to become an astrologer? You desire to become
Very
an
much
astrologer?
so.
Very much.
Yes. Sir.
Krishna, I think when you say MU, I think you wanted to say ME, right? Mercury in first house. Krishna, are you very much inclined to becoming an astrologer?
Yes, yeah. If I get enough knowledge, yeah.
Okay. You get the license to become an astrologer because Sage Bhrigu says having Mercury in the first house, you can become an astrologer.
I
What
got other planets too. And yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. Okay. Whenever there is afflictions, you can do something about the affliction. You can work on it. But you can't create a planetary position. You understand that? You have a combination in the horoscope, which, for example, if you have Mercury in the first house, it's always there. That's all. If you don't have it in the first house, you can't make it come into the first house. But afflictions in astrology means you can work on it to get rid of it. Okay. So whenever you have just the condition, for example, Mercury in the first house, simply believe that you can become a very good astrologer. You can stand out in the crowd. Mercury in first house, Suresh. Mercury ascendant Lord in 10th house. Oh, Mercury and ascendant Lord both together in 10th house for Ravi Kumar. So there's a very strong connection with the 10th house factors. Good. All these people will have the good luck. Okay. Of all the planets, we said Mercury is the planet of astrology. By using simple logic, can you say why that is true?
Mathematics.
Maths. Beautiful. The calculation. Mercury is the Ganita, the calculating planet. So calculator and computer is basically Mercury. If Mercury is very strong, then you will be very easily an IT person. For Ganita as well as in speech. The Karaka for speech. N. Kumar, I have Mercury plus Ketu in first house. Very good. So the occurrence of Mercury in the first house is quite high, right, in this batch?
Sir, we cannot hear you. You are on mute.
Astrology, in an astrology class, which planet will be dominating?
Jupiter and Mercury, sir.
Both will be dominating, right? Jupiter and Mercury.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the next question. How many of you have an interconnection between the first house and the fifth house? If you have interconnection between 1 and 5, maybe first lord in the fifth or fifth lord in the first, or some other way you can connect the 1 and 5, then also you can become very good predictors. Not only astrology, in some other field, you will do very well. Analysis, projections. I can predict this for the market. Okay. I know what's going to happen in the future. The interrelationship between Lagna and the fifth house. A lot of luck is involved in this. And fifth house is very much the past life merits. So 1 and 5. So let's start again with the class. Anybody who has first lord in the fifth or fifth lord in the first, please type it out. That yes, I have it. Of course, you'll have to say, at least some one of you will have to say 1 and 5 connection. Okay. And then maybe rest can say, I have it. Because in the chat is being referred, then we will not know for what this answer was. Nobody has?
We've typed it, sir.
Is it? Okay. I have first lord and fifth lord in 10th for Virgo ascendant.
Sir, I
Murahari.
have Jupiter in ascendant.
Yeah.
Aspecting first lord Venus, 100%, sir.
Very good. When you say 100%, for those of you who do not know what that means, it is based on a table of aspects which will declare it as 100%. Divine girl, I have first lord in 10th and fifth lord in 10th. Okay, 1 and 5, lords in 10th house. Good. So a lot of you have, many of you have this, right? Sai has fifth lord Jupiter aspecting Lagna. Fifth lord Jupiter in fifth aspecting Lagna. Sri Durga. You see so many people. Fifth lord Mars in ascendant. Chaitanya. I have fifth and 10th lord in first with good Shadbala score. Deepak Kumar has said that. A strong Jupiter in first house, 7th house and 10th house. A strong Jupiter.
I have it, sir.
Yes. Very good. Very good for astrology.
I have Jupiter in ascendant,
Okay.
which Shadbala, second strongest in Shadbala.
Okay.
And Mercury in fifth house exalted, sir.
Kiran to everyone. I have Jupiter in 7th. Is this Jupiter dignified, Kiran? Dignified means beautifully placed.
I don't know how to.
Okay, no issues. Just keep it in your mind. This is a question asked. Maybe later when you learn more of astrology, you will be able to answer that question. Okay.
Okay.
The easiest way to learn astrology is to think of planets as human beings. Because what is it about? This astrology is only about human beings. So it will have to boil down to us. Okay. How's your mood? Depends on where you are. If you are strong, meaning very healthy and feeling strong, you can do most of what is expected of you. If you're weak, let's say we are going through, we've been infected with the COVID, then we can't even talk. When we can't talk, then how can we do the work? So everything changes. So this is called the status of a planet. So the same planet, like for example, if you say all of you might have Jupiter in the 5th or Jupiter in the 10th, but it won't be the same result because for each one of you, that Jupiter will be in a different state. Okay. A very world famous astrologer has Jupiter in the 7th, but in its own house. Swakshetra. Sometimes you have Jupiter in the 10th exalted. Wow. Sometimes you have Jupiter in the 10th or Jupiter in the 1st exalted. So there'll be something you must know about where are you? Right now I'm here. I feel so nice. The same me, if you try to if I do this class in another place, I won't do it the same way. The entire thing will change because I'm in a different place. So you must ask the question, where is this planet? In which house? That's why you see a lot of people typing, I have a weak Jupiter in the 7th, and so on. Whenever it is weak, you need to work on it. You need to add, you need to work harder to get a result. Don't think you cannot achieve it. You can always achieve it. There are a lot of teachers here. For example, Kishore is a teacher in chess. There's so many people, doctors are here. They all have lots of things to tell people and change their lives. So please do not underestimate the power of changing, working on something. Okay. When you're not talking, please be on mute because I can hear some sound. Just look at the chat. Just read the chat. So many occurrences. 7th and 10th Lord Jupiter exalted, Padmaja, Jupiter in ascendant aspecting, Lagna Lord, Venus 100%. So many times, right? All these are patterns. 9th Lord in the 1st house or 1st Lord in the 9th house. Just an extension of the 5th house because the 9th is the 5th from the 5th. Okay, let's try to do that. Any connection with the 9th house? Jupiter, 9th in 9th. Sagittarius, Mars in 1st house, Jupiter aspecting Lagna and Mars 100%. Anybody else has some connection between Jupiter and ascendant or ascendant and, 9th house and ascendant and 9th house? Deepak Kumar, I have 1st house Lord in the 9th house. Very good. 9th Lord in the 1st. So it is an interconnection between 1, 5 and 9. Okay. So all these people will find it easier. But if you don't have any of these combinations, don't bother because it is just to say that you have a great scope for becoming a professional astrologer. Whereas if you don't have, you still learn the subject. We can learn anything that we want. Maybe you cannot become a professional. Okay, only for becoming a professional astrologer, you need all these combinations. Otherwise, you'll still be able to learn like you learn so many other subjects. Like, maths, physics, chemistry and so on, but you never became that, right? Like that, in the same way, you can learn the subject. Those who have the connection between Lagna and the 9th house factors, or 9th house and Lagna factors, vice versa, or Parivartana between these, whenever they use astrology, they will use they will refer to God so many times. They'll be placing a lot of emphasis on gods and rituals. And they tell you, don't worry, you go to this temple, everything should be all right. they'll orient it more towards gods, worship of gurus, read this, recite slokas, participate in bhajans, satsang. Okay, all of this. So, depending on the type of your horoscope, you will make use of astrology in a very different way. For some, it will be mostly mathematics and logic, only asking questions after questions, but never practically using astrology to do any counseling. These people will have a lot of Mercury in them. Mercury. I want to know why Parashara said this. What if, these questions, logic. And continuously asking questions, then there'll be a lot of Buddha, Mercury energy. Not necessarily that they'll become a good astrologer. A good astrologer is one who can do the consultation properly as a teacher, as a guide. They'll have a very good Jupiter. So it starts with Mercury, but ends with Jupiter. Because we have to do the calculation first. So there are a lot of maths involved, a lot of numbers involved, because it all starts from date of birth, time of birth, latitude, longitude. If the software is not there, it will be a very, it'll take a lot of hours to prepare the chart that we see so quickly on using a astrology software. Now we'll go for the discussion. Those of you have any doubts pertaining to whatever we discussed today, you can ask them one by one. Keep it simple and do not try to discuss your horoscope, but it should benefit the entire class with whatever we discussed today. Sridevi, is anyone talking where I'm not able to hear them?
I think for the house axis, I'm not sure if we talked about 5th and 11th. It'll be good to
we
hear from you.
We didn't. I was just telling about the interconnection, but if you say the 5th and 11th are opposite houses, what is common between 5 and 11? Okay. 5th and the 11th house. People can participate in this discussion. If you know, there are beginners also in this class, so they will benefit from your answers. What is the connecting points between 5 and 11?
7th from 5th.
Yes, please.
Is it 7th from 5th? The 11th is
No.
7th from
Simply, what is common between 5 and 11? Because 5 and 11 are on the opposite sides, right? We said opposite houses are interconnected. That's all. No reference to any other house, just only 5 and 11. Like 1 and 7, 3 and 9. We said awakening for third house. We said activity, not resting. It's practicals. Third house is practical. Sitting in class is 9th house, but using it. You sit with the teacher and learn, but then you start using it. Like you went for some coaching, and then the teacher was there telling you what to do, but then you have to prove whatever has been taught. Okay. Sai starts answering. I think even before that, Karthik. 5th house is speculation. 11th house is gain, fulfillment of desires. Okay. Fair enough, I think. 5th house is creation and 11th house is gain. But there is something else which you're missing about the 5th house and 11th, something very important connection between 5 and 11. I'll wait for that word. Yes, Soumya answered it. 5th house is the merits. Okay, past life. And 11th house is gain. If somebody you see very rich and always successful, obviously his 11th house is very strong or giving results. Where is it coming from? It's because of the 5th house. So that's how it's connected. Your Purva Punya, it spills over through the 11th house. It comes out. If the 5th house is afflicted,
Guruji,
yes.
Guruji, 5th house also represents child. So is there a connection between the child and the 11th house?
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, when somebody is, when a child is born, you can see the kind of fulfillment, people will be very happy. The couple will be very happy. The father and mother will be very happy. They say, yes, our desires have been fulfilled. Okay. No children is definitely a minus point. So what it means is if your fifth house is good, your 11th is also good. If your fifth house is bad, then your gain also will be bad. You can't gain because you don't have the source for the 11th house is the fifth house. So they're interconnected. So if somebody has a lot of gain, then it is fifth house related. Children, creativity. Creativity comes from past life. Or fifth house has the maximum potential. Look at the fifth house stuff. And see, these people who have a strong fifth house can earn money very well. For example, a movie, a storybook. It's just fiction, something that came out of your head. You write a book and you become a millionaire. You sell it to somebody who is in the movie world and you make millions out of it. What is the source? No other investment except your creativity. If you want to get rental income, you have to invest so much money. You have to invest at least maybe 2 to 3 crores of rupees to get a meager, maybe 50,000 rupees rent. It will take many years for you to recover that money. Whereas somebody with creativity, just from the brain, some music will come out and then they can make millions. Sports people, fifth house. And they do it all the while enjoying life. Okay. And people like the fifth house. They like to, because they don't have enough fifth house, they will appreciate it in other people. Okay. I don't have creativity. Therefore, I look at those who have this creativity in them, those who have more of the fifth house. And all of us look at the movies. The actor is, they're doing their job. And we all sit down there and watch the movie. And then we buy the tickets and then we ultimately pay off the entire team. They become very rich. Like cricket stars. They play the game and we watch. And all the money goes to them. If you ask them that is unfair, no, it's not, because they have a strong fifth house. They have accumulated a lot of punya where with very little effort and enjoying life, they'll make a lot of money. If the fifth house is afflicted, then there will be a lot of hard work, a lot of complaints, and the fulfillment of desire also is affected. Okay. You need good punya to have good children and all that which is connected to the fifth house. Even the belief in mantra chanting, the belief in all this, what we call spiritual activities, which is actually fifth house stuff, fifth and ninth. In Parashari astrology, fifth and ninth is called Lakshmi Sthana, the source of wealth. If you have planets in the ninth, it's a Lakshmi Yoga, especially Venus in the ninth, exalted, it's a Lakshmi Yoga. So if you have a very good 5 and 9, easy way to look at a horoscope and make a judgment is look at 5 and 9. You'll get a lot of answers. If 5th and 9th are afflicted, then there will be a lot of, desires can't be fulfilled. So 5 and 11, that is a connection. Okay.
Sir, one question.
Yes. That's what happened. I'm not able to hear.
Sir, one question. You said if you want to look at wealth, you look at the 5th and 9th house, right?
Yeah.
So let's say, so what about number one, what about the 10th house? And what if 5th house has a malefic, but 11th house becomes strong? So how do we correlate that?
It's too complex what you asked just now.
So do we not look at the 10th house, like, or do we look at 5th and 9th in isolation only? What if someone has a stellar 10th house and
No,
malefic fifth?
we can connect every house to everything, but the 5th house and 9th house is connected to the merits. What comes very easily is the 5th and 9th. The rest is based upon your effort. So less effort and more gains is usually 5 and 9. There are people who don't need 5 and 9 strength, but they'll do hard work, toil, and they still make money, but it will be just survival. It will not be in surplus. Okay. So if you want to say second house is a house of income, yes, that's also correct. But then where people make easy without much effort is actually 5 and 9. That's called the luck. Something called luck. Okay. I hope all of you have purchased the Bhrigu Sutra. Okay, by Sage Bhrigu. So there are several reasons why somebody can be wealthy, but I just gave you an overview saying how important the 5th and 9th is. Did we leave out any other axis? I think 2 and 8. What is common between 2 and 8? Anyone? Ancestral wealth. Okay. Wealth coming from the family, accumulation. The father and mother, or your wife's side, or your husband's side. All this kutumba related, and it is inherited. It comes to you automatically. Just imagine you are born in a very rich family. Half the battle is over because you don't have to work so hard. So it is connected to 2 and 8. So 8 is also 1 minus the 9th house of father. So usually the wealth will come after the demise of the father. The father or the parents in general, they wouldn't write off their wealth when they are alive. Any other doubt we have pertaining to the class, or we shall end the discussion? So first of all, thanks for Swarup. This is not a class actually. It is a Patreon session. You just got invited because we wanted the new, the new batch students to participate in some question answer. Okay, nothing. It was not meant for you. It was just a Patreon session. And we are collecting details about in what dasha and antardasha you are right now in, because of which, we just wanted to link why you got seriously into astrology, what dasha and antardasha is going on. And most people said it was Rahu, I think. And anyway, I'll go through the chat later while doing the editing. And later when Manoj is well, we will conduct a poll for the entire class to find what is it, because not all of you are here. Okay. I think after Rahu Dasha, we had higher occurrences of Jupiter. Okay. Jupiter is involved and Mercury is also involved, right? 3. The number of times these planets appeared. And then Saturn also, I think. But when you do the actual survey, we'll find out in exact percentages, which we did already in the previous batches. Okay, we'll have one proper survey done with the new students. I think we have roughly 45 students in the beginners batch. Okay, we have to add it to the existing database, and then we will do we'll convert it into percentages. How many was Rahu, how many was Jupiter and Saturn and Mercury. Okay. As usual, we find that the lowest occurrence was Mars. Okay, and we concluded why.
So, sir, according to you, what would be the reason that most people come to astrology in Rahu? I mean, as we saw, Rahu came most today. So what's your take on it?
I've already answered it, no? Because There's so much of darkness and confusion, fear, and there is the soul always wants to come out of ignorance, which is the nature of the soul. So in Rahu, it tries to figure out what's happening, and then they get into astrology. I think maybe you didn't join at that time. I don't know when we said this.
No, I was there. Thank you for it. I was hoping more like you just sort of speaking about it for 10 minutes. It's interesting. That's it. Thank you so much.
Okay. Anyone else? Anything? We can wind up.
Sir, I don't know if this is relevant, but if there are no planets in like a few houses, what does it mean? Like you were saying 5 and 9, but I don't have any planets in 5 and 9. What does it mean? Like I have planets in only 3 houses max.
No, when you see a house is empty, it's still got an owner. Okay. There's no occupant. The house opposite to me right now, the house is empty now. The occupants have gone to foreign country. But the house is empty, but it's still got an owner. So the Lord of that house, which is actually a planet, that planet will be in a certain house for people to get interested in astrology. Because there are 9 planets, but there are 12 houses. So obviously, some houses have to be empty, right? Because you have 12 houses and only 9 planets. Minimum, you'll have 3 empty. For some people who have a group of planets in one house, there'll be a lot more empty houses. It doesn't mean that it's not connected. Okay, it is connected. Something will be connected to that by either a planet that rules permanently over that house, but the occupant will have more say on that house in the same way that somebody is occupying the opposite house, they have more say. If they rent it out, that person who's occupying the house will have more control over the house, right? So it doesn't mean, I'm sure you're a beginner. That's why you asked this question. You can note down this question that you have. Afterwards, you will find the answer by the time you finish the course. Kiran says, Cosmic Insight says Moon, Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, and Saturn. What is that, Kiran? Are you saying all these 5 planets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 planets, rule the person when they are beginning to learn astrology? Is that what you're saying?
No, sir, that is my dasha, antardasha. That sequence.
Oh my God. Oh my God. You went up to the smallest division. Okay. Now, for all practical purpose, we'll stop with the first 2, Moon, Jupiter. So, but Jupiter's participation was very much there in most of the students. Okay. So when they come in Jupiter Dasha to learn astrology, most probably they are simply interested in knowledge, not because they have some problem going on. I got into astrology because there were a lot of problems in my life and I was trying to figure out what is happening. So I started in Rahu, but there was also, I just wanted to learn also. So Jupiter influence was also there. Okay.
Sir, I have one doubt, sir.
Yes.
Sir, what does it mean to have 4 planets in one house? Does it mean that significations of that house get diluted, or like, for example, 4 planets in 3rd house?
No, that house, it's like adding weight to that house. That house is peculiar, right? So it has more weight, more influence, or I can say this house is strong for this person. The planets are trying to express something more of that house in this person's life. But it's not easy to answer this question because there'll be a lot more to it. It may not be that how close they are, all that has to be understood. Is there a planetary war and so on? There are so many ways of looking at it. Okay. Usually when you see, like when the police is doing the rounds in the night time, If they see 4 or 5 people, coming together and standing on the road, they'll suspect and they'll say, wait, something is happening here. With a single person, they wouldn't bother. If they see a group, they'll say something is happening here. So it will interest an astrologer. Why are these planets together? Okay. So what is it trying to say? So much weight. Some emphasis is being, made on that particular house. Hyder Ali had many planets in the second house. Okay. In B.V. Raman's book, I think a collection of more than 300 people's horoscope. You can see this horoscope being mentioned. Hyder Ali, many planets in the second.
It is notable horoscopes, sir.
Oh, notable horoscopes. Okay, thank you. The famous Rajneesh Ojo. Can you make a wild guess where a group of planets was in his house? Where in his house?
8,000.
8,000.
Seventh, sir.
Okay. I'll wait for the answer, but I think some people have started typing. A lot of people are saying 8. So the answer must be 8. Deepak Kumar, 8th house. We had Ojo's horoscope discussion in Patreon session. Yes. 8th house is mystery. Okay. Mysterious. Okay. I think we can end the discussion we'll catch up next Sunday again. Sunday, actually, we wanted to do a horoscope reading today for the Patreon session, but then suddenly we changed the plan and we wanted to do this because we just wanted to start, but I forgot to update the students, and that's why they didn't make it to the meeting. So for them, we'll have a separate session to do just the survey, and then I'll share the details with all of you. How many people, when they join this class, in what dasha and which antardasha they are in. Okay. Next week we have which was planned for today, and a very interesting case study. We'll be having it same time, Patreon, Sunday, 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Okay. So thank you. I'll be ending the discussion.
Thank you, Guruji.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Thank you, Guruji.